Facebook is jacking up, and boom. Are we live here now? I don't know. What's up, Muff? What?
Struggled to find the spot, and our last spot we went is where we should have started.
Where'd y'all
Beaver
go?
ponds have turned awesome again.
The beaver ponds are all, they got water in them and they look
No, they
good.
turned to the sandy beach and
Oh.
also a mud pit.
I heard,
Zane and his wife.
Isaac got in quicksand.
Zane was up to his waist,
In-
having fun and jumping back in there. Playing with
In your jeans?
Yeah, this outfit right here.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh snap!
They had to baptize themselves in the water at the end.
Scotland's in the house.
Now
What do
you
you-
see Ella. This is Ella highly improved.
What?
The version you're about to see of Ella.
Where's Ella?
She's slowly coming here with her bouquet.
Gotcha. Can y'all hear me?
Ooh, Lordy.
What's up?
You have some wobbly bunkers. Pick it up. You got it, girl.
Let me know if you can hear me all right. How's it going, boss? Throwing some chairs out? Nice. You getting that van ready to put some bodies in? No, I'm just kidding. You got a shovel? I got a couple we can bury. We'll compare list. I'm live on the air, plotting burying bodies with my neighbor. You can't get around. Can y'all hear that? Dang it, this thing ain't staying on. How did I stay that on earlier? Let me see something. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me all right? I got my little cheap microphone on my phone right now. It's a beautiful day in Woodland Park, Colorado. Facebook went to jacking up on me, so I just decided we'll keep it real. I can hear good. Facebook got shut down today. Down with the phone, shut her down. Shut down the Facebook. Said, Zuck, you ain't keeping stuff together. So, we got a wrench in the house. Watch out, Jamie's in the house. I'm gonna do a rant on some things because I just want to rant. I was talking to one of my buddies who is, I got a lot of different buddies. What are you doing, princess?
I forgot to tell you.
Come here and look at this mud princess. Come here, I'm live on the interweb. Where have you been doing? Don't wash your face. Come over here. Oh, you're soaking wet. Where have you been?
At the. I forgot what it was called.
It looks like you got mud all over your face. The beaver ponds?
No.
Yeah, y'all were at the beaver ponds, I thought Mom said. Yep.
We're gonna go.
Y'all were gonna go to the beaver ponds, but you didn't?
Yeah.
All right.
I forgot to tell you.
What'd you forget to tell me?
Hi.
This is a microphone, just talk. No, what were you gonna tell me?
Yeah. I like got stuck in the mud
Isaac got stuck in the mud? Did you get stuck in the mud?
two times.
2 times. Nice. I do need to do a collaboration. I just saw that, Shell. And Jay's been freaking bugging me already. So, yes, I do need to do some more with Jay. I do. I absolutely need to do. I've just been lazy the last. It's been summertime is what it's been. I can't even get my Facebook. I was all prepared to do I was just going to go straight into a rant, and now I'm sitting here reading all y'all's little chats. Get him, Shell. Oh yeah, get me in trouble. So, what was I going to rant on? Oh, the village mentality. I got all kinds of friends. I tell people all the time that I know what it is to dine with kings, and I know what it is to eat beans and rice. I understand the difference between, but the one thing that's the same between all economic groups is this village mentality. You can't take the village mentality out of people. And when I talk about the village mentality, I was just talking to someone who's a gangster, straight up gangster. Prison time. He's a buddy of mine. He's one of the best tattoo artists in the. Let me tell you something. If you want to get a tattoo, find out how much prison time your tattoo artist has done, and that'll let you know whether or not he's a good tattoo artist. It's kind of a joke, but it's real life too. But we were talking about Pueblo, Colorado, and we were talking about the gang problem in Pueblo, and this particular guy comes from Texas, in a real heavily ganged area in Texas. He'd been gang banging his whole life, but in Pueblo, it is just such a small village. And when I say village, it's 100,000 people, but it isn't like there are 5 or 6 different gangs. There are just 2 gangs. It's like the South Side, or there may be 3 gangs, South Side, West Side, East Side. But it doesn't matter if you're in the gang or you're not. If you are around gang area, you are completely have the village mentality of, I'm not going to hang with the East Side, or I'm not going to hang with the West Side, or I'm not going to hang with this particular group of people because I'm with. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. My volume's down. Clicking, y'all probably hear clicking right now. But that's the same thing that happens in cities around the country. Is we've taken what should be. We've taken these villages, we've put all these villages together, but you can't take the village mentality out of people. It doesn't even have to be gang members. It can be an economic group. It can be we try to separate our middle class by Democrat or Republican or voter versus this. And I say middle class because that is the group that does most of the voting. And then you have your upper class, and those guys are at odds with each other in their own little villages. And so then you got all these different sects of groups. You got the cop village mentality, Blue Lives Matter. You got the firemen, they create their own little village. You got the LGBTY community creating their own LGBT. I don't know if that's right. Q. Maybe, I don't know. You got their own community. And so this village mentality comes out in a lot of different ways. It comes out sometimes in a good way. Oh, I mean, even states, like people like from Texas, they are like born and bred Texas, will always talk about Texas, will never quit talking about how great Texas is, how big Texas is, how proud of their dirt they are. You know, same thing with Colorado natives. You got Colorado natives who want to claim native, I was born on this dirt here in Colorado. Or you got the U.S., we are closing our borders. We're exporting or we're getting rid of people from other countries. That is a village mentality. That's a village mentality. It's a small group mentality. People ask me why Woodland Park is so great, because Woodland Park is about 8,500 people. That's a small village. We got about 10,000 people in the whole freaking, we got 10,000 people in the whole freaking county. And that's a small village. This village can be managed amongst his own people. Like, if something's going down at night, I'll put this out. Last night, I went for a bike ride in the middle of the night. It was funny because I looked at the camera footage today and I saw myself riding around my own house, and I was like, there goes a cop. He's gonna go to the park. Is he gonna go to the park and set up for stop sign? Or is he just cruising? Nope, he's just cruising. Cruising up and down the boulevard. You got the cop village mentality. if something happens in this town, it's not the cops that are going to be the ones to save it. The cops aren't going to save anything amongst the villages in Colorado Springs. They come in and they try to keep law and order. But once you have multiple villages living close together, there's always going to be conflict. But like in Woodland Park, it's not like we have a gang problem. It's not like we have a this problem of major crimes going on. It's a small village. Most of the things that happen here are major things like murder or domestic, or those are the things that we face. We don't face the petty theft. We have some petty theft that happens, and we have some robberies that happen here and there, but we don't face a lot of that crazy, a lot of where all those crimes are. You know, there's not a heroin. You want to go get heroin, you're going to have to go to the trailer parks. There's 3 trailer parks, and then you're going to have to get lucky, and you're going to have to find the one dude or the 5 guy or whatever. So it's not like we have this major. They do deal heroin out of Trail Ridge Apartments, by the way, but it's a small village that can be maintained by its people. Case in point, if I go ride around in the middle of the night, I'm going to know faster than anyone if there's crap going on in town. I was riding around in the middle of the night last night with my dog, taking my dog, she started howling. So I took her for a spin with the electric bike, and we went all over town. And I'm going to know more about what happens in this small village than the cops are at night. But if I go do that down in Colorado Springs, you got a lot of small villages. If you go to Pueblo, you got a lot of small villages where things are happening. And so, I don't even know what my freaking point is. When I was talking with my buddy, I was trying to solve gang violence. I was like, you'll never be able to solve gang violence because of the village mentality amongst ourselves. When you put a small group of people together, they become a small village, and they begin to back and forth. And so, how could you solve that in the U.S.? How can you stop gang violence? How can you stop violence among villages? The villages will have to spread apart. Shit, long before you and I were here, there were native tribes that spread apart, and they still fought amongst each other. That's a built-in hereditary genome thing within ourselves that say we're going to group together with like-minded people, and if anyone tries to impede on that, we're going to go to odds with them. That's a small village mentality. I see it happen right here with 40 people watching. I see it happen where you got a small village of people on a Facebook or a YouTube video. And now this has become a small village, dad with the phone village on YouTube. And then when someone else comes in, whether that someone has a difference of opinion or has a different thought, I see the village start fighting amongst themselves, or people start wanting. I'm not talking about the trolls. I'm just talking about people with different. Sorry for my English. This language is one of 4 in my head, is a little mix. Look at you, Big Storm TV, speaking all kinds of languages. There is no perfect way to solve the village mentality amongst ourselves, because it's something that's within us. We group together with like-minded people, and then when someone comes against that, we get at odds with people. If we could solve it, shit, we would have it. We'd have the secret to life quickly. It's funny. It's funny. It's not funny. We were talking about people just getting killed in Pueblo because of the gang violence in Colorado. Like, Pueblo has become one of the most gang-ridden. It's definitely the murder capital of Colorado. Definitely more gang violence in Pueblo, Colorado, and it is because of this small village mentality, west side versus east side, south side versus both sides, you know. And it's crazy. It's crazy that again, we have our own conflicts here in Woodland. We got the city official corrupt people in their little village and their little side. You got the good old boy village and different things. I've talked about this as gangs and mafia and mobsters, but the truth is it's just the built-in village gene in us that we like. And then you got nomads, right? I'm more of a nomad that likes to skip between villages, infiltrate the different villages, take from the different villages the good and the bad, but sit right in the middle sometimes. It's crazy because I could see it in my head, right? Like I could lay out the plan. I could say, this is the plan to solve gang violence in Pueblo. You take the west side and you give them a city. And you take the east side and you give them a city. But the problem is the west side and the east side, no matter how far you spread them apart, they're always going to find in the middle. There's always going to be this infiltrating. And the only way to really solve it is individually in your own lives, right? You have to make a decision in your own life to say, yeah, I'm going to love those people if they're different, if they think different, if they talk different, if they believe different. And then when everyone does that, obviously, you start this melting pot. Sometimes a village mentality brings together good things, right? You come together as a group of people and you create this village, and one's a blacksmith and one's a farmer and one's a, right? This is the old way that it used to work. 150 years ago, we all lived in small villages. New York was a filthy mess, and the different big cities that were being built it was crazy, right? We come up with technologies to take the filth out, to take the sewage out, to take the things that stopped building mass productive villages of the past. And now we have these million people living in one small area. We have 11 million people living on the island of Manhattan. And I look at that and go, that's just not normal, nor is it natural. And you've crammed all these different people together, and they're all from different villages. And of course, it's not the best or the safest or the most safest place to live because you have all the mix of villages. We got a lot of land, though. We got a lot of land in this country, and we're definitely not overpopulated. We want to blame immigrants when we're all immigrants 150, 200 years ago. That just blows my mind. That 200 years ago, we were all immigrants. And now one of the biggest fights and arguments and stuff, just 200 years ago, we're running around on horseback like idiots and half cavemen. And today we think, oh, now we have to shut it down. We have to stop it, right? That's a small village, backwards, crazy mentality. We're flying around now. I'm talking to people all over the world. There are people from Switzerland in this room. There are people from Mexico and Canada and Australia. And the village has become super small. But yet we fight. It's craziness. It's craziness. I'm going to take a drink of tea. You could take everyone in the U.S. right now. Everybody in the United States, and you could stack them shoulder to shoulder, front to back, and they would fit inside the city limits of Los Angeles, California. Everyone in the U.S. could all be in Los Angeles, California at the same time. We are not short on land. Do you think the system's ever going to break? You know, like we've seen other empires. We can look back through history and see when they fell, when they broke, when they snapped. I wonder if the system's ever going to break in our lifetime. And when I talk about the system, I mean the structure of the United States. I'm not talking about the world, but I think you have to talk about the world when you start talking about systems now, because we are all connected, right? We are all on this planet. We are all connected. We know now, we are smart enough to know now that what China does affects what happens here. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean what China does economically, what the people do, what Russia does, what Mexico does, everything affects the system both in the US and we affect, obviously, other countries around the world. We have meddled in more countries than any other empire in history. Good, bad, or indifferent. We could go in there with the best of intentions or the most vile of intentions. It doesn't matter. The facts are that you and I are part of a country, a system that has invaded, has bombed, has killed, has annihilated, has destroyed more communities around the world than any other country out there. And yet, I still think we're good people. I don't think we're bad people. I don't think the people in the U.S. are harmful or hurtful. I don't think the mass majority of the masses really believe in wanting others to suffer. But yet I hear about it all the time from people that I respect. I hear about this from men that I actually respect until they speak on these things, because it's like all of their integrity and humanity goes out the door when you start talking about immigrants or aliens or migrants or whatever word you want to give to people from 50 feet across an imaginary line. Like, we've created this. This is a system we created. This isn't a godly system for all you Christian, Republican, God bless Trump and get rid of all the Mexicans. For all of you, this is not a Christian system. The system of kicking out people. The actual scripture says differently. The actual Bible says differently when you talk about people coming into your land. I'm just saying. For all you patriots, you patriots of America, come on. This is a 200-year-old system that, in the grand scheme of even the life on earth, is a young system that will eventually break. It's an imaginary line, whether it be from Canada or Mexico or any other country. These are imaginary lines written by men you and I don't even know. A lot of times we read history here in the U.S. and now it's being like what's being taught, what was taught as history in when I was in school. Not that I remember that stuff. I remember one of my history teachers. But what was being taught wasn't necessarily the truth in history. We write our own history now. Like we go back through just history here that I remember, and we rewrite history over and over amongst ourselves just based on who tells it. Is this a joke? Is this a joke? It could be a joke. It's probably a joke. As a matter of fact, Will Rogers said it best one time, and I love this quote. He said, "There will come a time in U.S. history that people will take our comedians seriously and all our politicians will be a joke." That's a good one, right? If you have a place to live and a way to support yourself, I have no problem. But we will have to agree to disagree. I know, Cheryl T. Nobody likes this. Your camera looks like you are in a sauna. Does it really? Let me wipe my camera then. Is that better? Am I better now? Bad idea to go political. I love to go political every once in a while. It's kind of fun to go political, especially in a political world we live in. I say it this way. If you have no God, or if you have no higher power, if you don't believe in an afterlife, then you definitely need a government, because it's all going to happen here for you. If you believe in something else, that this is just the start, that we're just getting started on this thing, then maybe it does matter. Not really when you're clueless on the issues. I'm as clueless as you are, or I'm as educated as you are, both. Because I could take almost any issue and argue it intelligently with a few clicks of a button. Now the question is where I click and get my information. So imaginary lines. Well, that's true. Borders are imaginary lines. Borders are imaginary lines. God didn't write those borders. Mother Nature didn't write those borders. That's a created system. I'm not saying that system doesn't exist. That system is very, very, they're not. Oh yeah, they are. Very much so. As a matter of fact, if you know how we got our borders in the country, you know it was over water. Every one of our borders in our states were decided by water. So again, imaginary. I know you think they're real. You think that the earth was created with dotted lines on every country, or dotted lines on, no, they're villages. That's what we're talking about. This village mentality. The village mentality of a group of people saying, we are better, we have it right, we're doing life right, even though this is the first time we've done life. Our village is doing it better than your village. And your village isn't welcome in our village. This is elementary. This is archaic. This is caveman shit. This is stuff that's been ingrained. This is stuff that's been ingrained in our DNA, in our bodies, you know? It's going to be fun to watch our DNA change. They're doing studies now where they're doing studies on families around the world, how over 3 or 4 generations of a family, 3 or 4 generations of a family, you can change a family's physical DNA, the physical genes. So if your dad, let's just say this, if your dad was an Olympic runner and your son turns out to be a fast runner, the chances are his son is going to have the genes of a fast runner, so on and so forth down the line. If your dad sat behind a desk all day, and then his son sits behind a desk all day, and his son sits behind video games all day, you understand? Those genes are being passed down. This isn't pretend. This is science. The scientists are proving this shit now. And so I told people all the time, my wife gets mad at me on this, because I have this belief that beautiful people come from certain parts of the world. And if you go to other certain parts of the world, there are people that we look at and I look at them, or you look at them, and you're like, those people aren't so beautiful. They look a little weird. They look different, right? You can see this a lot with mountain regions, very mountainous, cold regions, or you can see this in very tropical regions. I say that all the women in Brazil are beautiful because they come from Brazil and they've been raised in this tropical Brazilian, weather environment. But if you go up to go to the mountains of Nepal, the women are rough and tough, and they've endured these high altitude winters, and their body has changed to look differently. They come from a different village, right? And so just as the weather can change on your entire genes, we are changing ourselves, gathering together in these huge villages known as cities and metropolitan areas. Even villages like Woodland Park, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, this would not even be capable. We wouldn't be capable of sustaining a village of this size. It just wasn't possible. And so it's fun. It's fun though. It's fun to be alive in this time. It's fun to look at this in a way that maybe, like, what will they think about us 200 years from now, right? What will they think about us 1,000 years from now? Will they look back on this history when we fought over imaginary lines, no matter what they are, state lines? Shit, we were listening to, like, our traffic laws. This is how crazy village mentality is. Our traffic laws in the U.S. are different from state to state. I'm experiencing this right now because I grew up understanding that if you were to get pulled over by a police officer, you're supposed to remain silent, not say a word, talk to your lawyer. But if you do that now in Colorado, you can lose your license, you can lose your car, you can lose your ability to even have a license if you remain silent. If you obey if you invoke your Fifth Amendment right to your Constitution. But if you go to another state and you get pulled over and you say, I want to remain silent, I'd like to speak with my lawyer, that's legal. That's okay. It's okay to do that. But it's not okay in Colorado to do that. And so we can't even agree on traffic laws. In Texas, you can ride without a helmet, right? You can ride without a helmet. Can you ride without a helmet in Colorado? You can ride without a helmet in Colorado. You can ride without a helmet in Colorado on a motorcycle. But if you go to other states, it's against the law. We can't even agree state to state on traffic laws. In some states, like in Colorado, it is by law mandatory for you to move over when there's emergency vehicles. In other states, that is not a mandatory. We freaking argue over traffic laws by imaginary lines. Imaginary lines. In Colorado, you can smoke the hell out of the marijuana, but they will still put you in prison in other states. That's village mentality. Village mentality. Am I going to run for mayor? I'm going to get on the ballot. I'm for sure going to get on the ballot. I don't know if I'm going to run anywhere, but I'm going to let people vote for me. So I'm not saying we need I think small villages are best. I think municipalities should rule themselves. But because then you will go to the village you like. You will go to the state or the small town or the city you like. I mean, we saw it happen here. People became medical refugees all the way to Colorado with children who had seizures. They came to Colorado to give their children marijuana because it heals, it stops. I'm an eyewitness account to watch it stop seizures. And when you watch it stop a seizure, or you watch it stop a child that is trembling or doesn't have an appetite, or it changes, right? People came to Colorado as medical refugees. They came to a different village because in some villages they still throw you in jail for it, And so, yeah, I don't expect this to change anything. I don't expect for you to turn this off and be like, how can we be a better village in our own lives, right? But that's how it has to start. That's how anything has to start. That's how all these things have to change, that we look at, logical people look at and go. But it's funny because I think a lot of you are logical and a lot of people in the world are logical that think logically different than me. They think logically different than me, right? That doesn't mean they're not logical. Some people right here on this are like, we have borders and we need to keep immigrants out, or we need to keep people from other countries out, right? That's a logical thought to a lot of people. In my mind, I look at that and I'm like, oh, that's an archaic thought. That's a village mentality. That's an imaginary line thought. So it's back and forth, right? We can both be logical. We can both think with our own minds, right? Shell says, I'm very logical. Well, but Indian tribes didn't start this. This goes back to the 12 tribes of Israel they talk about in the scripture thousands of years ago. This goes back to the ancient times in the Asian world, in Somalia, where the birthplace of man was. There were a separation from the beginning of people in the history we understand it. It goes for a respective. If you believe in evolution, because I love to talk the evolutionary theories of people. There was a time when people crossed, and if you believe in like the way that the earth used to be all connected, there was a time that during the Ice Age, people crossed over into the country, right? They crossed over into the U.S., the Americas, from North America, South America. They walked over from the Asias, and they lived right here, right? The Native American people that we call Native Americans, the Indians, you can trace their roots, their history, their genome. You can trace their genes back to the Asians, back to the Russia, Asias, right? The Asians. They came over Alaska, came down and populated. For 40,000 years, people in Europe didn't even know people in America existed. And they lived separate lives in the separate parts of the world. And there were tribes in Europe, and there were tribes here in the Americas. So it's crazy. Then all of a sudden, we discover this new land. It wasn't a new land. There was a whole civilization of people living here. And so it's interesting to think that we've evolved in the last 150, 200 years. We were all walking around on horseback, to now the state can take away your horse. Henry Ford said, if I had listened to the people and gave them what they wanted, I would have just invented a better horse. He invented the car, which then we adopted the horse laws into the vehicle, and now the state can just take that away. They can take your ability to use a horse. They can't take your ability to use a pedal bicycle. And now, because of the electric revolution, women knew about this electric revolution long before us men, but us men are starting to find out. Once they put electric into vehicles, men were like, electric is good. And women are like, have you not seen what's in my nightstand? Electric has been good for a lot. I'm working on a new joke there. I don't know if that's funny or not, but I'm working on a new joke. Marijuana legal everywhere. I think all drugs should be legal. Let the Darwin effect take hold. How about that? How about you make all drugs legal? I mean, we already have legalized the most dangerous drugs in the world. Fentanyl is legal. Opiates are legal. They give people methadone and Oxycontin, and that shit is legal. What is she streaming me over there now? She's straight streaming Dad with the phone on D-Live. That little girl, Jay. Ah! I'm all right with that. She can stream me over there. Jay has my permission. I'm going to have to call the D-Live people up and tell them. If you're just joining, we're not talking about nothing today. We're just ranting. Recent news learned about. Did y'all see the Facebook groups that the Border Patrol has been running? That's pretty funny. Cops are running secret Facebook groups. Border Patrol has been running a secret Facebook group with over 45,000 members. Probably why it's down. That's what they said. They're down because I crashed Facebook. Y'all didn't know that, did y'all? That's Sarah. She just left, but now she's walking. I've been in some of the big pharmacy companies. I've been in the campuses up north of Virginia or north of Washington, D.C., the big pharma companies. I've done a couple of documentaries up there and then done a couple of live shows for a new drug releases that they had. I'm going to tell you right now, big pharma is crazy. It's like futuristic. Oh, there goes a new baby deer running up the road with mama. Twins. There goes twin deer. Oh, I'm going to have to go check them out. Y'all want to go see the twins? I got my bike here. Y'all want to go see some baby deer? Some twin deer? We could probably do that. I want to see if they run across the street down here, though. I think they were going into a backyard. Those babies are a couple of days old, though. They were running. Woodland Park has more mule deer twins and even triplets than anywhere else in the country, according to Colorado Wildlife. We have more mule deer twins born in Woodland Park than definitely anywhere in Colorado, and maybe anywhere in the country. That's pretty sweet. It's the environment. We feed the shit out of these deer. Corn-fed, GMO. All the neighbors are feeding the deer. Right now, they're trying to. I need to get a form and fill out a form for the deer committee. They're forming this new committee, and I was like, I'm actually interested in being on that committee. I need to go by there and get my application. I think I got to have that done before the 10th. Fourth of July celebrations tomorrow. If you got some illegal fireworks, hit me up. Are you going to Beth Chapman's memorial in Denver? I hadn't planned on it. I saw that it's going to be in Aurora or Arvada, maybe. Somebody needs to send me that info. I need to go look at that info. It would be worth going up there to pay the respects. My kids absolutely love watching Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. My wife, as a matter of fact, when in January, no, it would have been not in January. This last time when I was April something, when they arrested me right here, and my wife had to go down to Bobby Brown's to bail me out, to have Bobby come up and bail me out. Dog and Beth were there. They were filming, and Nikki. She was like starstruck. She was like, why didn't I talk to her? Why didn't I say something to her? She did say something to her, but she just told her she looked beautiful because obviously Beth had been going through the cancer thing. I mean, she was real skinny and real thin, but she was all dressed up because she was on television. And my wife said, you just look so hot. She didn't know she was on her dying last couple of months. But Nikki and there's another girl down the street that were there, and they talked to Dog and Beth just back in April. So, and then my wife saw Bobby Brown shopping at the thrifter. Bobby Brown's a thrifter, and I didn't even know it. It's a beautiful day. I might go for another bike ride. Alex, that's funny. I'm just reading y'all's text. Dad, say hi to Jay on her D-Lab. Oh, I guess I didn't say hi. Hi, Jay. I can't see you. Why aren't you on YouTube? You're not going to come chat with me? Did she come in here? I want to see. Hey, I want to give away some. Oh, there's Jay. Kirsten, why are you here? Who's Kirsten? Please be respectful. Did Kirsten get booted yet? You can come to our village when we know you know who you are, just like when you allow someone to your home. Ah, come on, Kirsten. You don't answer a logical question. What's your question? Do you own a home? Yes. No, they are not. We have borders, imaginary lines. Not really when you're clueless on issues. Oh, Kirsten hides. I'm not worried about Kirsten. It's okay. She was here. She's gone now, Jamie. It's all right. I don't expect, man. I expect people to have all kinds of views because they've been raised all different ways. I'm a white man in America. For me to even talk about anything, people can point at me and say white privilege, and all I can do is say, This is probably why I'm not in federal prison. It's because I'm a white man. That's the truth. You know, if you're a black man in America, you're more likely to be in prison than anywhere else. So, like, I can tell you right now that I'm just a white dude. I'm just a white guy with a white wife and 3 white children in America. But I'd rather be somewhere else. I'd rather go somewhere else. But America wants to keep me. Woodland Park don't want me to go nowhere. Ah, Jay is back. Beans and rice, what's up, yo? You look familiar to me. Am I on D-Live right now, Jay? That's what I want to know. To all your D-Live folks. I'm just ranting. I don't have a point. I don't even expect to make a point. I don't even expect to make a point. Oh, here comes, why can't I be like oh, there's a mama deer right there with, does she have babies with her? Looking for her babies. Oh, she hasn't dropped yet. This mama deer's still pregnant. That mama deer's still pregnant. Maybe. Or she had a miscarriage. I thought she had a baby with her. See if I can get her to come over here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. I'm gonna get hit by a car right now. Come here, baby. That's how you gotta talk to him and stuff. Come here. Come here. Hey, you want something? Come on. They're not hungry right now. Everything's so green. They're eating all the flowers. Come here, mama. Come here, mama. I'm driving your dog crazy. That's funny. I put Facebook Live on for General the other day. Let him watch. Oh. She wants to get a picture. We got a onlooker. She wants to get a picture. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, she's about to cross. We go find those babies. All right, I'm out of here. We're ending with the deer. Y'all have a good day. I'll be back later. I'm out. Thanks, YouTube, for not cutting out on me. How do I finish this shit? Whoop, whoop. Out.